Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Make your lawn a legacy. At Legacy Lawn and Landscapes, we put more than 16 years of experience into your goals. We won't meet your expectations, we'll exceed them. We offer consultation, installation, maintenance, hardscapes, construction, and land clearing services. Owner John and Jamie Brewer with their team are dedicated to providing the highest quality landscape services to commercial and residential clients in Middle Tennessee. Service, teamwork, results. That's how you leave a legacy.
Are you looking for a non-factory job environment? Livingstone Freight Solutions is a 3PL company that began managing warehouses in Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. With our multiple shifts and experienced management team, our goal is to give you, as an employee, a safe family work environment and competitive wages. We offer a wide variety of employment opportunities from forklift drivers to management level positions. We also strive to offer a competitive benefit package and PTO options. For more information or to apply, visit us at livingstonefs.com or give us a call at 931-269-3255.
Why should you bank with Employee Resources Credit Union? We offer a wealth of services, including mobile banking, video banking, bill pay, and more. We also offer loan rates that are lower than those of our competitors. Employee Resources Credit Union has been a financial pillar since 1964, providing long-time support to members of the community. Join us and become part of the ERCU commitment, not for profit, for service.
Being raised in Tennessee, we believe in the importance of family and community. Creating a positive experience at our family-owned and operated business is one of the ways we share that belief.
Being in an accident can be extremely stressful. When it came time for my repairs, Mashburn's made it easy.
I am lucky to have a wonderful company in my community like Mashburn's Collision Center. It's reassuring to know that I'm in good hands because their work is second to none.
We pride ourselves that the Mashburn name is one of the most trusted in Lawrence County since 1981. Mashburn's Collision Center. Let our family take care of yours.
Shop McMaster's Home Gallery for furniture, appliances, and more. And shop quality, shop convenience, shop service, shop local. A family-owned business with a long history of serving the region. We're a one-stop home furnishings destination. We feature brands you know, competitively priced, backed by professional installation and service. You can trust that we'll take good care of you before and after the sale. For your home, shop smart. Shop McMaster's Home Gallery today.
Got primary care? Find your way to better health with primary care by One Stop Medical. With decades of combined experience, you'll find a one-on-one relationship just like the old days, but with the convenience and technology of today. When One Stop Medical does primary care, it's the best. Call today for an appointment and find your way to healthy living. Serving Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, and Hohenwald. Phone 931-244-8220. Primary care by One Stop Medical at its best.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome in here to the X Sports Network for this Wednesday edition of the Mark My Words College Sports Show. And we've got a lot to get into, folks. We're still kind of playing catch up from Thanksgiving. So we still got some kind of college football news that happened maybe over the weekend or wasn't as big. We've got bowl games. Well, we've got some big bowl games. We've got Heisman finalists. On3 has dropped their All-American team. And then on the hardwood, we still got to go over the games from the weekend. We had a ton of great games. We have a new AP Top 25, and this is a pretty important one in the historic scheme of things when it comes to college basketball. And then, of course, we had some great games, especially last night with the Jimmy V Classic. Not a whole lot of games going on the rest of the this week, but we'll definitely have some more heading into the weekend. So we'll jump right into it with some college football news. Some strange news, as it's something, pretty much the same thing has happened twice. Mississippi State announced that and this was some news that kind of came out Sunday that got buried under all of the college football playoff, what was right, what was wrong news. Mississippi State hired their former head coach and former defensive coordinator, Zach Arnett, back to be the defensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator under the earlier years of Mike Leach, and then was the interim when Mike Leach unfortunately passed, and then took over as head coach. Obviously, that was kind of when we started seeing Mississippi State tick down. Then they brought in Jeff Lebby. The offense is there, but the defense has left a lot to be desired. So why not bring Zach Arnett back to be your defensive coordinator? I mean, there's been a ton of Tennessee teams over the past couple of years where, man, if we just had a good defensive coordinator, they're right there. And then the same thing happens with Blacksburg. Virginia Tech hired their former head coach, Brent Pry, to be their defensive coordinator. Now, I don't think this one is... I can't figure out if I think that this one is weirder or more normal. Obviously, Pry was the last head coach at Virginia Tech, and he's a good coach. I just don't think that the head coaching success has been there. But listen, he was with James Franklin at Vanderbilt. He was with James Franklin at Penn State all the way up. I mean, he had been with James Franklin from 2011 all the way up to 2021 until he gets hired as the Virginia Tech head coach heading into the 2022 season. Had a record of 16-24, gets fired early this season, and then, funny enough, his buddy James Franklin comes over and takes the head coaching job, and now he's the defensive coordinator there. Now, again, do I find these really strange? Yes. Do I think they're good, though, for these teams? Yes. I mean, Virginia Tech and Mississippi State definitely weren't anything too crazy to me when it came to the defensive side of the ball, but both left a lot to be desired there. I mean, when we remember the Mississippi State's fourth quarter collapse in what felt like every game this year, Virginia Tech had just had a bad year. But maybe with James Franklin and Brent Pry, and they, I believe, just hired an offensive coordinator this morning as well. Let me check that. I do believe, if not this morning, it was someone they hired pretty recently. And yes, Virginia Tech is hiring Penn State's Ty Howell to be their next offensive coordinator. Good moves. I mean, Virginia Tech's put together a good coaching staff. I mean, they've taken a lot of recruits from Penn State. Probably will get some transfers as well. I think it's great for Virginia Tech because, I mean, as we've seen this year, the ACC's bad. I mean, even Clemson was bad. Clemson wasn't good. Miami was, they're in the playoff. I'll say they're pretty good, but Georgia Tech had a good start but didn't finish well. Louisville, great start, didn't finish well. Virginia lost in the ACC championship to a 7-5 team. I mean, Duke was your ACC champ. So bringing some more competitive teams into the conference, I think, does nothing but better that conference and make it look less like an afterthought, kind of how it was this season. Notre Dame feels targeted by the ACC in the final college football playoff bracket. Irish Athletic Director Pete Bevekwa says the ACC has done permanent damage to its relationship with the Irish. This seems to be kind of the result of, obviously, Miami jumping Notre Dame in the college football playoff rankings on Sunday, which is something that Notre Dame have been ranked above them since the middle of maybe late October. So, there's a bit of betrayal felt there. And then also the ACC network showed nothing but that Miami and Notre Dame game from week one for, I don't know exactly what the time were, but it felt like the last week they had been doing that and showing nothing but the Notre Dame and Miami game, obviously, while the playoff committee is watching other games. They probably had a TV on the ACC network, and it probably brought up some discussions. Despite not being in the ACC in football, 24 of Notre Dame's other sports compete in the ACC, so I can understand Bevekwa's statement right there saying that we're one of your teams in 24 other sports. Why attack us here? So does this mean that we'll see Notre Dame look elsewhere for a conference when it comes to those other sports? Maybe. Would they look to the Big Ten? I know that Bevekwa says the only other conference commissioner he has spoken with was Greg Sankey of the SEC. I mean, nothing says South and Eastern Conference quite like Notre Dame. I mean, South Bend, Indiana, that is so far south and east. I don't know what will come of it. Probably nothing. But, I mean, maybe the seed's planted for something to look at further down the line. So now it is bowl season. We had the games, most of them released on Sunday, some of them not released on Sunday because some teams didn't know if they were going to be playing in a bowl game, what that bowl game could be. So we'll look at some of the bigger ones that are played into January, and then some earlier in the month, all the way back into some of the early December ones. So we'll start Monday. We'll start when the college football playoffs start there. On Friday, December 19th, you'll have the Myrtle Beach Bowl. You'll have MAC champ Western Michigan. You'll have Conference USA champ Kennesaw State. That one 11 a.m. on ESPN. You're also going to have that Gasparilla Bowl, Memphis, NC State. Those are two good teams. Memphis, new head coach. NC State, is CJ Bailey still going to be there? You don't know. 2:30 ESPN on the 19th. You got your playoff game with Oklahoma and Alabama. And then on Saturday the 20th, you're going to obviously have your 3 playoff games. So those are the only games that day. And then Monday the 22nd, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Washington State, Utah State, 2 p.m. ESPN. On Tuesday the 23rd, you'll get the Boca Raton Bowl between Toledo and Louisville. Also that day at 5:30 on ESPN, the New Orleans Bowl between Western Kentucky and Southern Miss. That should be a pretty good one. The Frisco Bowl, UNLV, Ohio. Wednesday, December 24th, you're going to have the Hawaii Bowl, Cal versus Hawaii. There's going to be 8 million points scored in this game. That one at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Going to love to watch that one. Friday the 26th, you'll have the Game Above Sports Bowl, Central Michigan and Northwestern. No longer guaranteed rate bowl, just the rate bowl between New Mexico and Minnesota. First Responder Bowl, FIU versus UTSA. Saturday the 27th, you'll have the Military Bowl, Pitt in East Carolina. Strange that you don't have a Army or Navy or the Air Force in one of those games. Pinstripe Bowl up at Yankee Stadium. You have a preseason top 5 matchup between Penn State and Clemson. The Fenway Bowl, as we stay up in the ballparks, UConn and Army. In the Pop-Tart Bowl, what would have been BYU and Notre Dame is now going to be BYU and Georgia Tech at 3:30 on ABC. The Arizona Bowl will be Miami of Ohio and Fresno State on the CW. I believe Barstool still owns that bowl game, if I'm not correct, so could be some Barstool guys on the on that one. New Mexico Bowl, North Texas and San Diego State. I mean, these are a really good group of 5 teams right there. That should be a good one. The Gator Bowl, Missouri versus Virginia. Virginia coming off losing the ACC championship game. Missouri, a bit of a disappointment this season, at least to them. I think that they thought that they could be one of those teams fighting for a playoff spot, and you get to the last week and there's not a number by their name. Texas Bowl, LSU in Houston at 9:15 on ESPN. That one in Houston. Monday, December 29th, we'll have the Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Southern versus App State. That was one that was struggled to be filled, and I can remember when that was like a pretty important game. I mean, there was I believe following the 2016 regular season, it was South Carolina and South Florida, and that was the South Florida team that still had Charlie Strong. That was a South Carolina team that had just lost their head coach, Steve Spurrier, a couple of years earlier, so they were still kind of on the way back up. And nothing against Georgia Southern and App State, but they're not what they used to be. Tuesday, December 30th, you'll have the Independence Bowl between Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech. And then you'll have the Music City Bowl, Tennessee, Illinois on ESPN. That one at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. The Alamo Bowl, number 16 USC versus TCU. This one's going to have a ton of points in it as well in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. New Year's Eve, the ReliaQuest Bowl, number 23 Iowa, number 14 Vanderbilt. Boy, if that isn't a contrast of styles. Vanderbilt's been putting up a ton of points. Iowa, for Iowa standards, is putting up a ton of points. Now, in the grand scheme of things, they're a slow team. This should be a relatively slow game. The Sun Bowl on Arizona State and Duke, 2 p.m. on CBS. Then the Citrus Bowl, number 13 Texas, number 18 Michigan. Hey, I mean, that's 2 of your bigger brands in college football right there. Orlando should be jumping for that one. The Vegas Bowl, Nebraska and Utah. This one at 3:30 on ESPN at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And then you'll have your quarterfinal playoff match, which will be the Cotton Bowl, which is Ohio State versus Texas A&M or Miami. And then on January 1, you got Texas Tech versus Oregon or James Madison, Indiana versus Oklahoma or Alabama, and then Georgia versus Ole Miss or Tulane. So ESPN, really smart scheduling, not putting another game on the day that there is a playoff game other than the one where you have the one at night. Friday, the Armed Forces Bowl, you'll have Texas State versus Rice. The Liberty Bowl, Navy versus Cincinnati, an Old American Conference rivalry right there. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, Mississippi State, Wake Forest. Holiday Bowl between Arizona and SMU. And then all you got left is Thursday, January 9th. playoff semifinal Friday, January 9th, another semifinal, and then the 19th you'll have the championship. So yeah, a ton of bowl games. It should be a ton of fun. I don't think we've seen a ton of sit-outs be announced yet. They will come over the next coming days. Also, some news in college football. Georgia and Louisville have mutually canceled their home-and-home series for 2026 and 2027. They will try to schedule a neutral site game at a later date. Also, Georgia and NC State canceled their home series for 2033 and 2034. That's a problem. And I'm not trying to say that the SEC is trying to schedule light. I'm saying that the SEC, now that they have a 9-conference schedule, are going to do what the Big Ten does and try to play as little amount of big games as they can. Now, you saw some of the bigger brands like Penn State. They didn't play anybody. Indiana, they didn't play anybody. Now, given Oklahoma and Texas had that matchup with Ohio State and Michigan, I loved that. I think that was great for the sport, that we actually got some competitive games between the Big Ten and the ACC. But other than that, I mean, the Big Ten doesn't require anybody to make a big non-conference game every year. So, if you're not one of the premier brands, I mean, it's not like we're seeing Nebraska go take on Oklahoma every year like they used to. I mean, obviously there's conference lines between them now, but we don't see that much of an effort made to do that. I mean, it's definitely interesting. This is something I haven't talked about a whole lot, the YouTube TV issues. But this is, I think, a good thing, especially for sports fans. YouTube TV will offer a new sports-only plan in 2026 that is cheaper than its current $82 per month offer. Pricing is to be determined. This is going to be the sports hub now. I mean, ESPN's tried their best, but with this deal, this is a TV provider that is going to give you all the stuff from NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox. You're going to have all the Turner Sports. You'll have all the ESPNs, the ACC, SEC networks, the Big Ten network. It's all going to be in one spot, and you can do the quad boxes and stuff like that. I think this is great. This is what sports fans have been wanting for forever. It's just one place where you can have everything. It used to be cable, but then that got priced out. Now is hardly a thing anymore. But eventually, I mean, it's going to loop back around to where we just have cable. And it's like, oh, wow, you can have all your channels on the same thing? The streaming wars is just something I could rant about for days. So as we continue, we've got some Heisman finalists. These were announced the other day, and I mean, I think they got it right. There towards the end of the season, it was pretty evident that it was kind of Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sands to lose. And then the last couple weeks, Diego Pavia and Jeremiah Love, who were in those finalists, have made some great strides. So those finalists are the four guys I just named: the Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia, Notre Dame tailback Jeremiah Love, and Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin. If you watch college football, those are probably the four most important guys to their team, mixed with the best stats, what looks nice, stuff like that, highlight plays, because these guys are full of those. And who do I think will win? I thought that it was Pavia's to lose, because I also thought that a couple weeks ago that Vanderbilt would make it into the playoff. But since then, we've had a Big Ten championship game, so Mendoza and Sayin have played. Was either one of them really impressive in that game? I don't think they did anything to help themselves, but I also don't think they hurt themselves either. I really think it's between Mendoza and Pavia, to be realistic. Love getting hurt in Notre Dame's last game probably didn't fare well for his case either. And this will be the first time ever, barring a upset win for Jeremiah Love, that a year ending in the number 5 will not be a running back winning the Heisman. It's gone all the way back to 1935 with the University of Chicago or Chicago University running back or a fullback, but it's been a running back pretty much every year that has ended in 5, and looking like this will be the first one not. Maybe we can consider Pavia running back halfway so if he wins it. So, On 3 this morning released their All-American team. This isn't an official one. This isn't an AP one. This isn't a USA Today. This is just an On 3 one. But, man, you realize how good the talent was in college football this year. Pavia, first-team quarterback. Again, I think a toss-up between him, Mendoza, and Sayin is fair. Jeremiah Love, Ahmad Hardy as your tailbacks. I don't think there's any discussion there. You could maybe throw Kawan Lacey in there, but he got so many touches that his average definitely isn't up there to what these guys are. Your receiving core: Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, USC's Mekhi Lemon. Those are your two best receivers in the country. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. Your offensive line goes Spencer Fano and Francis Mauigoa as your offensive tackles. Emmanuel Pregnon and apologies, but for the Penn State offensive tackle or offensive guard, Ione, I'll say, believe that's how you say his last name. And then at center, Jake Slaughter, your all-purpose or your flex guy, so to speak, for at least in the terms of fantasy. They put Emmett Johnson, the tailback from Nebraska, the only guy that you could say would have been left off at tailback because, his yards were absurd and was most of the reason that Nebraska had any offense after Dylan Raiola went down. Place kicker, Tate Sandell. That dude could stand at the 50-yard line and just drill them in 20-degree weather for a week. Is it the shorts that he's wearing? Is it just the swag he's got? I don't know, but Tate Sandell is by far the best kicker in the country. And it's nice to have one of those on your playoff team because I think Oklahoma right now has the best kicker and the second or third best defense in the country. We'll see how far that can take them in the playoffs. On the defensive side of things, David Bailey, defensive end from Texas Tech. Dude's awesome. Best money can buy you. Caden McDonald and Tyreek Tucker, an interior defensive lineman from Ohio State and Indiana. And then Caden Curry, the other edge rusher from Ohio State. Linebackers, it's a good year for linebackers. You got one from probably some of the best defensive teams in the country, Arvell Reese from Ohio State. I don't know how R. Mason Thomas isn't one of those edges, but that's just me. Arvell Reese, linebacker from Ohio State, is awesome. Jacob Rodriguez, he was a Heisman contender for a good point of the later part of the year. And then C.J. Allen, linebacker from Georgia, is just awesome. When it comes to defensive backs, there's some good ones. Mansour Delane and Leonard Moore from LSU and Notre Dame. Nobody was beating those guys one-on-one this season. I like to see them, honestly, in a matchup with Love and Hardy with an average quarterback. Safeties, you got another Ohio State and another Indiana guy with Caleb Downs from Ohio State and Lewis Moore from Indiana. And then your punter, Brett Thorson, and your returner, Caden Wetjen from Iowa. So that will do it for the college football section of the show. When we return from the break, we're going to have college basketball. We got to break down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's games from this past weekend. We've got a new men's AP Top 25, and then we'll look at the games that have already happened this week and then some more that are still to come later in this week. And that'll be when we return on the Mark My Words College Sports Show.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
From our humble beginnings to today, Parks Lumber Company has continuously served Lawrence and surrounding counties for over a century. Although we started as a small lumber yard in 1896, we have grown to include everything you need to make your dream project come to life. No matter your building needs, our experienced staff will be with you every step of the way to ensure you receive the highest customer service and attention to detail you deserve. Visit us at 106 2nd Street or on Facebook. We guarantee you will see working with PLC is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
There are now more ways to save at QuickMart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at QuickMart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Top quality equipment rentals at the right price. It's not too good to be true at Rent Right Equipment and Sales. We guarantee clean, reliable products that are up to your standards. Our family-owned business has been doing that for more than 40 years. Let our friendly and knowledgeable staff take care of you from purchase to maintenance. Saws, drills, lifts, mowers, generators, you name it, we've got it. Stop by and see our inventory today, located on Buffalo Road in Lawrenceburg.
Did you know that Resource MFG, an employee bridge company in Lawrenceburg, is the first and largest national manufacturing staffing company? They work alongside the top plants and facilities in the area to provide you with job opportunities in production, quality, maintenance, supervision, and all levels of management. Resource MFG has positions open right now to meet your needs today and a full staff ready to work with industrial partners to grow opportunities for this generation of workers and the next. Reach out today and start your employment journey with Resource MFG.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back. Segment number 2 of the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. And it is college basketball time, folks. Listen, we're getting into the heat of the season, and there's still a whole lot of unknowns. But I think we're starting to figure out a little more, and we'll start by breaking down some of these games that happened later last week. We will start, first of which, a matchup between two Power 4 teams that wasn't televised, but probably should have been. It was a good one between Notre Dame and TCU, this one Friday night on ESPN+. 87-85 overtime win for the Irish. And folks, Notre Dame's men's team is 7-3 right now, and if you look at their 3 losses, a 10-point loss to Kansas in the Players era, it's not a bad loss. A 10-point loss to Houston in the Players era, not a bad loss. 5-point loss to Rutgers, also in the Players era. Not a good loss necessarily, but not a detriment. And maybe Notre Dame's going to be a pretty formidable opponent in the ACC. I mean, they won their game against the SEC foe. They have now a win over a fairly good TCU team out of the Big 12. Looking at the box score, Jalen Harrelson gives you 20. And this is a game Marcus Burton only played 10 minutes. Has a little bit of an injury problem in that game. Braden Shrewsbury goes 38 minutes, gives you 15 points. 20 points from Cole Serta off the bench. A great win in overtime by the Fighting Irish. And that one was quite literally neck and neck all the way down to the end. Cincinnati and Xavier also played on Friday night. We'll look at the Musketeers, who have gotten a little better, I will say. Get the nice win over Cincinnati in the Skyline Chili Crosstown shootout. Bob Miller, 10 for Cincinnati, 15 from Day Thomas, 16 from Sean Ababe, and then 10 more from Kirk Kriisa. Cincinnati's got a lot of players. I mean, Miller gives you 17 rebounds. You need to be able to find a guy that can go get you. Like for Xavier, Trey Carroll goes and gives you 30. You need that guy if you're going to have a bunch of guys that can't really get over 10 points, because Xavier, I mean, Milicevic and Borovin they both went for 12 each on top of the 30 points. I think that's going to be a big help for the Musketeers as they keep on heading down the line. Gonzaga and Kentucky played that night in the Music City shootout. Don't exactly remember the Music City Madness. Yes, and boy, the only madness there was the Kentucky fans getting booed going into halftime. Ended up losing 94-59. We're down at halftime by 23. I mean, how do you lose it by 35 points against a team that had to travel quite literally the entire country over, and you just had to head down? You probably took 64 over to Louisville and then just took 65 down. I mean, it wasn't like a crazy trip, and you just got dominated. Graham Ike, 28-10. Braden Huff gives you 20. You had a couple guys, Adam Miller, Braden Smith, each give you 11 off the bench. And then for Kentucky, Otega Owe had a decent game because he got to the free throw line a ton. Denzel Aberdeen was not very good. 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 points for Colin Chandler, 5 for Malachi Moreno. It's not a good look right now for Kentucky basketball. 5-4 following this game. And last night, you see Brandon Garrison get benched. Not looking great for Kentucky, but I will tell you, Gonzaga has got a really interesting schedule because they have another game this weekend in another hoop showdown. This time it will be home in Seattle, but against UCLA. So they're playing some tough defensive teams to try to get themselves built up for March. Now on to Saturday, where we had a ton of good games. We had 5 matchups of top 25 teams. We'll start in the early morning. Iowa State at Purdue. I said that if Lipsy played for Iowa State, they would have a chance. And I'll tell you, I was not thinking that chance would be a 23-point win. Iowa State goes to the Mackey Center and upsets Purdue 81-58. I mean, it was a team effort. Momcilovic 20, Blake Buchanan 12, Joshua Jefferson 11, Killian Torrey 13, and then Lipsy gives you 9 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, not a single turnover, which is huge. And then you got some good defensive presence like Nelson and Heiss off the bench. Trey Kaufman ran 4 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. Was not a good game for him. Oscar Clough, 10.6 boards. He didn't do much. C.J. Cox, 7 points, 2 rebounds. Braden Smith had some decent numbers, 11 points, 5 boards, 8 assists, but with 6 turnovers, are you helping your team or are you hurting your team? At that point, you don't know. Fletcher Lawyer did not shoot well in this game. I mean, the leading scorer was Braden Smith with that 11, Clough with 10, Daniel Jacobson had 10 off the bench. Just a not good game for the Boilermakers, and one they're going to try to forget, and especially with it being at home, just extremely weird. But you're going to see a trend of teams that had to travel a little further, playing a little better. Duke headed up to the Breslin Center to take on a very, very hot and very scary Michigan State team. No problem. 66-60, the win for the Blue Devils. I mean, look at Cam Boozer. 18 points, 15 boards, 5 assists, 1 turnover. Usually when the offense is running through a guy as much as it is with Boozer, there's a lot of turnovers. There's a lot of bad shots, but he's just over 50% from the field here. He's not a great three-point shooter, so wasn't taking a whole bunch of threes. Isaiah Evans didn't have a great game. Caleb Foster showed up huge. Duke did what they needed to get a win. Jackson Kohler goes for 14. Carson Cooper, 16 and 16. Cohen Carr, 10 points. But the problem is Fears. Jeremy Fears didn't hit a shot, 0 for 10. 6 of 6 from the line, 6 points, 13 rebounds, or 13 assists and 1 turnover. That's good, but you're gonna need some point from your point guard. It's gonna be too hard to win in college basketball without that. 60 points is not enough to get it done. Louisville headed up to Indianapolis to play up at Gainbridge Fieldhouse against the Indiana Hoosiers. We made the trip from Bloomington. So, neutral site game, but in all practicality, it should have been a home game for Indiana, especially with the football Hoosiers playing in the same town at the same later that day. Well, the basketball team didn't fare as well as the football team. 87-78 win for Louisville as they advanced to 8-1 on the season. Indiana suffers their second loss, but it was not because of their big shooters. Tucker DeVries, 26 points. Lamar Wilkinson a little bit slow with 12. Nick Dorn with 15 off the bench. For Louisville, it was a little bit of everybody. McNeely had 15 points on 5 threes. I said if you could get him to hit 3 or 4 threes, that would be huge. 5, even better. 15 points from Javon Hadley. 21 from Ryan Conwell. 12 from Sanadja Frew. The only starter, and really the only person that played more than 10 minutes that didn't score 10 points was Michael Brown Jr. Did not play good in this one again, but wasn't hurting his team. His shooting wasn't great. 9 points, 5 of 5 from the field, or 5 of 5 from free throw line. 1 rebound, 3 assists, only 1 turnover, so he wasn't hurting his team, and that's why Louisville looked much better, because when he wasn't hitting against Arkansas the other night, they looked bad, and he was turning the ball over. It wasn't good. We will stay in the top 25. We'll head down to Nashville in another neutral site game. Number 14, Illinois. Number 13, Tennessee. A matchup we've seen 2 of the last 3 years. And I don't know if it was something I said here. I don't know if I did say this on the show or not. But over the past, we'll say at least since I was in college, so that's the fall of 2020, Tennessee's had a couple of series. One with Colorado, where Tennessee won the game in Knoxville, they won the game in Boulder, and they played a third one in Nashville, and they looked terrible. Tennessee won the matchup with Illinois in Knoxville. They won it in Champaign last year, and they played in Nashville and looked terrible. Illinois gets the win 75-62 in Game 2 of the Music City Madness. The SEC did not look good in Music City, and if that's any way to tell for the SEC tournament, don't be looking for Tennessee or Kentucky to make a big run. Illinois looked great. David Merkovich was good. Tommy Ivasic had, I think, 16 at the half. Finished with 16. Keaton Wagler was good, 16 points for him. Colin Boswell was a pest in his best way. Stojakovic wasn't as aggressive as I thought he would be. Looked all right, but it was really those four. It was Merkovich, Ivasic, Wagler, and Boswell. And those guys just torched Tennessee. And you look at the Vols, the only person that scored in double figures was Jacoby Gillespie. Had to take 20 shots to get there. Nate Ament, 9 points on 14 shots. I mean, the team's shooting 37% from the field, 30% from three. And the most embarrassing stat I have ever seen, 44% from the free throw line. Illinois shot 57%, so it wasn't much better there. I don't know if it was the rims or something, but it wasn't like the lid was just on one end, because Illinois, I mean, they almost shot 50% from the field, almost 40% from three. Just a bad game for Tennessee. Listen, Nate Ament's going to have to get physical, because I'm tired of hearing every game that Tennessee has played this year. He's just not physical enough yet, but he'll get there. Dude, he's in Knoxville for 1 year. If he doesn't get there by March, he's gone. So I'm wondering if he's even going to be a factor this year, because to be honest, looked better with him on the bench. With maybe Carey or Dwayne Brown, JP Estrella, whoever was getting those minutes, looked a lot better. Felix Okpara, I actually think he did a fairly good job in this game. His numbers don't really show at 5.6 boards, but I think he handled his own down there. It's just he was getting matched up with Merkovich, and was leaving Ivasic to Ament, who was, I mean, he was getting bullied on both sides of the court. Phillips, 2 points, 3 boards. Has the announced that he's going to have shoulder surgery that's going to keep him out the remainder of the year. Tennessee's already sent in a medical redshirt request, so Phillips should get an extra year of eligibility out of that. Hate to see him go. Gillespie was all right. Couldn't hit anything. Was turning the ball over a bit too much, too. Not great. Bishop Boswell showed a lot of signs of improvement. His three ball, his on-ball defense, his rebounding, they're all there. Dwayne Brown, a freshman that's not scared to score, like him. Estrella showed some good signs, as did Carey. But he's also going to have to get a much better touch near the rim and free throw shooting. Amari Abram, I thought, did a great job, but his team's got a lot to work on, and not a lot of time to do it. They got a game next Tuesday against Louisville, and then a couple of cupcakes, and then you're right into SEC play, where in the first month of SEC play, Tennessee has 1, 2, 3 games on the road against top 25 teams. Not getting any easier there for the Vols, but they still, I think it's the second longest active streak of being ranked. If not, it's right around there with Houston and Duke for most consecutive weeks ranked. They were ranked the entire time I was in college there. Got close to falling out a couple of times, but still in there. We still got more games to talk about. Ole Miss at St. John, 63-58 win for St. John's, and this was one I said that they needed bad. At this point in the year, Ole Miss can afford a loss. St. John's cannot. They played a tough schedule and finally were able to get one over. Their offense is not it. It just is not. Bryce Hopkins, 8 points, 7 from Sinone, Darling, and Sellers, 15 from Zuby Ejiofor, 9 boards from him, but again, not a whole lot going there. You had some guys do well off the bench, Ian Jackson, Dylan Mitchell, to name a few. But man, this game was a turnover fest. 20 on the dot for each team. Comardine gives you 16 points for Ole Miss, and then other than that, Malik Dia, 18 and 10. Corey Chest, 6 points, 10 boards, 10 points for Keza Giffa. Chris Beard's going to need to spend some time with his team and figure them out, because they lost a ton of talent from last year. Sean Padula, to name one. Cayman Brakefield. They got Malik Dia back, but that team last year had a ton of talent, and they finally made it click. This year, not sure if it's got either. I don't know if it's got talent or has the ability to click. Houston was looking to get right versus Florida State. And listen, the season for the Cougs, I'd say, has actually gone pretty well. They get the 82-67 win in the Houston Hoops showdown over the Seminoles. And they did it with a little bit of everything. You had some of the old guys like Emmanuel Sharp, 6 threes, 6-12 from the three-point line, 10 of 17 from the field. He was awesome. And then you got, Milos Uzan. Wasn't shooting the ball well. 8 assists, 1 turnover to go along with his 7 points. Kingston Flemings was awesome again. 8 steals for Flemings. Had some turnover problems, but he was a couple assists and a couple steals away from a triple-double. Joseph Tugler, 6 points, 4 rebounds. Had some foul trouble. Didn't play much in this one. Chris Signac, 15 points, 10 boards. That's what they want to get out of him. Houston looks to be getting right as they near closer and closer towards the start of their conference play in 2026. Auburn at Arizona. I thought that maybe Auburn could play with them because Auburn has looked fairly well this year. I mean, the only game that I'd say they got their butt handed to them was that Michigan game. I mean, they played close with Houston. They played close with St. John's. They beat St. John's. They have some good wins. They got a win over NC State. Then they head out to the desert and get punched in the mouth. 97-68 win for Arizona, the number 2 team in the country. And woof, I mean, if your name was not Tahad Pettiford, he didn't do anything for Auburn. He had 30 of the 68 for the team. Arizona, everybody was doing something. 16 from Braden Burry, 16 from Jaden Bradley, 8 from Krivas, 18 from Koa Pete, and 12 from Ivan Karchenikov, 11 from Del Orso, 8 from Dwayne Estrode, Toby Awaka, 6 points, 7 rebounds. I mean, just dominated in every facet. Out-rebounded them, outshot them, out everything, except free throws. Auburn, 20 free throws. They only scored 48 points from the field in this one. Arizona scored 89. That tells you the score of that game. Not a good look for Auburn, but they do have a good win earlier in the week, so they're not going to feel too much of a drop in that AP poll. Last game of the night, Arizona State gets an 86-70 win over Oklahoma. Porter Moser, maybe getting a little warm there in Norman. We had some games on Sunday, and I'll tell you what, Kansas folks, they're Elite 8 good. They're Final Four good now because they got Darren Peterson back, and buddy, watch out. I thought they'd have a pretty close, fun game with Missouri, and they blew them out 80-60. And look how much better that team looked with Darren Peterson on the floor. Trey White, 20 points, 13 boards. Berdunga is able to go 10 points, 11 boards. I saw that number and was like, how did they win this game? Darren Peterson gives you 17 points, 3 rebounds, only 1 assist, but his presence out there on the court Sunday, you could feel it. Because the only person that had a decent game from Missouri was 21 from Mark Mitchell. No one else over 7 points. Texas Tech dismantles LSU 82-58. Great win for Texas Tech. And I'll tell you, I don't think a school has taken advantage of NIL and the transfer portal quite the way that Texas Tech has. I mean, they have bought themselves into the college football playoff. Didn't end up winning the national championship, but a national championship level softball team. Not sure about Texas Tech baseball. Haven't seen them, but it's baseball, college baseball in Texas. It feels like all the teams are good. But man, even in men's basketball, they've got themselves a good program. JT Toppin, I mean, that to say much more than that. Toppin wasn't actually the big guy in this game. Had 11 points, 15 rebounds, but 27 points from Christian Anderson, 15 from LaJuan Watts, 11 from Jalen Petty. For LSU and Woko, 10.7 boards, not going to cut it. Looking at the other games on Sunday, you had Georgetown and North Carolina. The Tar Heels took that one 81-61. And I'll tell you, Caleb Wilson for North Carolina is a stat sheet stuffer. I mean, the kid just puts up numbers. I mean, there's not much of a better way to put it than that. He just puts up numbers. And North Carolina, they're 8-1. Got a couple of easy games. Got an Ohio State in there in that CBS Sports Classic, but not a terrible lineup heading right into to conference play. KJ Lewis goes for 17 and Julius for Georgetown goes for 14. But man, Caleb Wilson 20 points, 14 rebounds, 18 points, 15 rebounds from Henry Vassar. This is what happens when a team shoots 24 of 72 like Georgetown did. because those guys combined for 24 defensive rebounds. 14 from Bogovac, Kylan Evans, 7 points. 14 from Derek Dixon off the bench. Great win for UNC. SMU takes down Texas A&M 93-80 in overtime. And that is our weekend's games. Now we will look at our new AP Top 25. And this is a big one because the last 21 national champions have been ranked in the top 12 of the Week 6 AP poll. So history tells you that one of the 2026 men's national champions is right here in front of me. So we'll start from 25 and then we'll do 12 through 1, kind of like college football playoff. Because if history tells us anything, this is pretty much the playoff field now. Number 25, UCLA. Number 24, Virginia hops in the top 25 for the first time this year. They're good. Nebraska still unbeaten. St. John's finally gets back on the right track. Auburn ranked right above them at 21 because obviously Auburn has that head-to-head win. Right above them at 20 is Tennessee. They don't look good. I mean, you heard me bash them for a couple of minutes. If they don't figure something out on offense quick and teach Nate Ament how to play college basketball with the big boys, that AP poll rank streak's going to end. That streak of getting teams into the NCAA tournament's going to win. You know, here's the thing: when those two are playing off of each other and playing really good, you see Tennessee beat Houston, and that's a Final Four, Elite Eight caliber Tennessee again, like we saw last year. Then you see the game against Kansas, the game against Illinois, the game against Syracuse. I get 2 of those 3 teams are ranked, and none of those games were played in Knoxville. You looked terrible. Last year's team would not have lost any of those games. Maybe the Illinois, but would not have been a 13-point game. Number 19, Kansas, obviously ranked right above Tennessee because of the win. I think they'll start jumping up these polls pretty quick. We got Florida at 18, Arkansas at 17, Texas Tech at 16, Vandy at 15. Vandy is top 10 in KenPom. They're top 10 in most metrics. Watch out because I think they're going to be a dark horse in the SEC. I guarantee, I feel pretty confident that they're going to get one of those top 4 buys. I mean, right now they're the second highest ranked SEC team behind a team that is inside the top 12, so it could be a national champion team. Number 14, UNC, and number 13, Illinois. So out of the 12 teams left here, one of them is going to be the national champion this year, if history tells us anything. So start number 12, Alabama. We've seen them look really good. We've seen some downs from them, like losses to Purdue, losses to Gonzaga, but other than that, they've looked fantastic this year. Number 11, Louisville, suffered their first loss of the season earlier last week to Arkansas. They'll start jumping back up. They just had to drop because of a loss. Number 10, BYU. We'll talk about them in a little bit. AJ DeManza is awesome. It's funny, they're playing in all these NBA arenas right before he's about to be the number 1 pick. He's, somebody's going to know where to take him because, they play a bunch of home games there. And the place he played last night, I don't know if they'll have a pick high enough, but he looked pretty good in that gym. Number 9, Michigan State. Didn't fall too much from that loss against Duke. Number 8, Gonzaga. They look good. I mean, you beat Kentucky by 35+ in Nashville. You deserve it. Number 7, Houston moves up a spot. Purdue all the way down to number 6. Number 5, UConn got a good win last night. Didn't impact their ranking. All the way up to number 4, Iowa State. A 23-point butt whooping at home. That gets you a top or butt whooping on the road applied to Purdue. That's going to get you in the top 5. Number 3, Duke. Number 2, Michigan. And number 1, Arizona. 1 and 2 are by far the best teams in the country, and I think that they will play for the national championship. 3 and 4 are kind of right there with them. Like, they haven't been blowing everybody out of the water like 1 and 2 have, but I think talent-wise they match up with them well. But Michigan destroying everybody. Arizona destroying everybody. And I'm talking about more teams than just Auburn, because Auburn has like a combined 80 points of losses to those 2 teams. I think they're going to be really, really good, Arizona and Michigan. And they really came out of nowhere. I mean, we knew Dusty May was going to have a good team at Michigan this year, probably a top 15 team. I didn't think they would be top 10 good. Lindeborg, awesome. Arizona, I mean, where did they come from? They were a top 10 team in the preseason. Pete, Bradley, those guys, you knew they were going to be good. Man, Tommy Lloyd has done an outstanding job. This team's playing outstanding basketball on both sides of the ball. Going to be fun. I'm going to definitely be watching some Arizona and Michigan head. I've seen a good bit of Michigan, but we're definitely going to be watching more Arizona looking forward. Games from this week. Monday didn't have any big games, but Tuesday we did have some good ones. The Jimmy V Classic up in New York at Madison Square Garden was going down, and we had a good matchup there. Actually, two good matchups there. We'll start with the first one, a rematch of a second-round game last year that involved the national champion almost getting beat, Florida and UConn. And the Huskies get their revenge, 77-73. Had a good lead built up in the first half. Were able to hold on to it. Condon for Florida, 14-9, looks good. Thomas Houck, 18 points. Ruben Chinyelu, 8 points, 11 boards. Boogie Fland, all right. Had some foul trouble, wasn't able to play much in that one. But Xavier Lee has a great game, 5 of 14 from the field, 1 for 7 for 3. Led the team in points, led the team in shots, but he was getting to the line, and that's what helped his team keep it as close as they did. 6 boards, 5 assists, no turnovers. Didn't get much off the bench, only 6 points. And then UConn, Alex Caravan, 13 points. Terrace Reed, 12. Silas Demery, 6. Solo Ball, 19. And then off the bench, you got 9 from Reby, 6 from Mullins, and then 5 from Malachi Smith. Great win for UConn, and they're going to be I don't think there's going to be much competition for them in the Big East. Maybe St. John's, but other than that, it looks like UConn's going to have a free, probably 3 seed, 4 seed, if not higher, waiting for them in the NCAA tournament. BYU and Clemson also in the Jimmy V Classic, and this one was just as good, if not better. I think it was better. You had BYU coming back from more than 20 down in this one to get a win. I mean, you're down 43-22 at halftime. You come out and put up 45 in the second half, hold Clemson to 21. Justin Porter just didn't have enough. RJ Godfrey with 13, 10 from Buda Johnson, but 28 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists from AJ DeBanza. 9-17 from the field, got to the line. Looked like an NBA player playing in an NBA arena. Richie Saunders, 2 for 11 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3. That's why they were down 22 in the first place. Rob Wright was able to hit the big shot there at the end to get them over the top. 17 points for him. I'm telling you, when those 3 guys are on, nobody's better than BYU, other than maybe the team. I think they're probably the 5th best team in the country when those 3 guys are on, but when they're not, kind of like last night, they can kind of fall in the mix there with some of those unranked teams. Another ranked team in action last night against another, I'll call the Big East a power conference for now at least, Michigan. Whoa. Absolutely dismantling Villanova. Let me see if I can pull up some stats on this one. 89-61 the win. So another 28-point win for Dusty May's squad. I mean, Cadeau, 18 points. Linda Borg, 9 points, 3 rebounds. I mean, none of their starters really played more than 20. No starter played more than 25 minutes. Cadeau had 18 points. Had a bit of a turnover problem, but wasn't anything that was going to hurt them. So you got to see a lot of their bench players play, which is funny enough. That's how you build good teams. Your starters don't have to play much. Your bench is getting a lot of run, and those guys will be ready when March comes around. Illinois defeats Ohio State 88-80, and definitely a great start to the week with that new ranking by their name. And you know what? I feel like they got some disrespect for that win over Tennessee. They only moved up, 1 spot, 2 spots? I mean, I feel like a 15-point win in somebody else's home state is worth at least something. But Brad Underwood's teams, man, they're physical. They're gonna hit you hard, and they're good. I mean, I think this talent-wise is probably one of his best 2 or 3 best teams. I mean, obviously there were some teams with, with the Kofi Coburn, those guys, but. I mean, you got David Markovich, 22-9. Keaton Wagler, 23 points. 17-4 from Stojakovic. Zvonimir Ivasic, 13 points off the bench. Tommy wasn't great. Colin Boswell wasn't great. But that they can win on the road against a Big Ten opponent, a good one in that at Ohio State. Someone to handle them without some of those guys having big games, that shows a huge sign of improvement from this team compared to an Illinois team from years past. One I kind of wanted to spotlight just because one, the number, and 2, one of the performances. Wasn't gonna talk about Indiana and Penn State in basketball, but man, the Hoosiers had it was graded as one of the I think, the second best game in real history and like real stats. Don't exactly know too much about that, but 113-72, 41-point win against Penn State. Lamar Wilkinson had 44 points in this one, 16 of 22 from the field, 10 of 15 from three, only 2 free throws. He had 44 points on 22 shots and only had 2 free throws. That's absurd. You take him out of the game completely, Penn State gets a win by, 1 point? But wow, just what a performance there by Penn State, by Lamar Wilkinson. And I say by Penn State because how do you let a guy score 44? I mean, I didn't watch the game. I know he probably hit some crazy shots, but man. So we don't have a whole lot of games for later in the week. Maybe this weekend we'll heat up for some matchups, but these teams trying to rest after coming off all those games from Thanksgiving and Feast Week and just trying to get ready for conference play. Tonight we got Minnesota at Purdue. That one at 6 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. Wisconsin at number 23, Nebraska. We'll see if Nebraska suffers their first loss tonight or gets to 10-0. That one at 8 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. And then Thursday we have Iowa at number 4, Iowa State. 8-1 versus 9-0 at 7 p.m. on FS1. That should be a good one. Bennett Sturts versus Momcilovic. That's going to be a great matchup. And then I believe on Thursday night we are getting the new the 2025-26 SEC or the 2026-27 SEC football schedules. So we'll go over that on Friday as well. So that will do it for this Wednesday edition of the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. We will see you Friday, and have a good day, everybody.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.